Hey, in today's video, let me get my mask off here. And what I'm going to show you today is Strait Flex, who's owned by Clark Dietrich. They sent me a bunch of these products to try out, and I'm going to demonstrate them for you, including some inside corner bead and several types of outside corner bead, and we're going to talk about those right after this. Thanks for stopping by my channel here. I've got all this product that I want to show you here, and I've never used a lot of this. There's one product I have used, and I've always been really impressed by it. And I've used a lot of this. This is their roll flex product. This is for, like, you can do inside angles with it, but I use it more for like 45s, like in this picture here. We got two of them right here to do. So I'm going to put some 45 on there using this product. But a lot of these are brand new to me. I installed a few of them yesterday. You can see some here playing around with it. Now, what are they and why are these different? Well, first of all, this is the one that I'm not so sure about. I love all these others, but I think I need to learn how to use this one better because it's a self-sticking corner bead. So in other words, you wet it, which activates this blue glue in here, and then you can use it. I think what I need to make this work right is they have this roller, and I need it for these other products too. So I'm gonna order that soon and try and get that on the way. I don't do a lot of bigger remodels. This one's a fairly good size remodel. We've shot 3 videos here so far. If you watch my channel, you'll see that we did a how to skim coat your ceiling video, how to do a stomp texture on the ceiling video, how to fix a plaster crack, and now I'm going to show you all about this corner bead. But now what I'm going to talk about mostly is why I think this type of corner bead is the best. In my opinion, I don't think there's any better. I don't like the plastic corner bead that you see out there. You're supposed to glue it on, and I've tried it before, and seems like anything that's put on with a spray adhesive, I have problems with it. It just doesn't stay stuck. It might stick for a little bit and then it pops loose. Takes a ton of glue. You're using lots of $8, $9 cans of spray adhesive. I'm just not convinced that's the way to go. So this one I'm a little unsure about, but I do want to try it some more because I know this company makes great products. So that roller would allow me to press it down better, and maybe I need to go reread the instructions and see. I might have let it soak too long or not enough. I sprayed it on with a spray bottle. So I'm going to research this some more, and I'll show you this more in a future video. But that is what's right here, and I'll talk about that in a second and what kind of went wrong on it. But I can salvage it, and we'll go on to these other products, which I think these are going to be great products. Okay, let me get this one out of the way first. I'm going to kind of move these out of the way as I tell you what they are. This one's unique. If you're taping inside angles and you want it to be the truest and straightest, just really nice angles, and you want some speed, if you're taping them by hand especially, I think this product's really cool. I've got some fairly ugly angles here because this is a remodel. They pulled this wall out, then they redid it, and you can see in this picture here where the joint tape was. And if I try and retape that, sometimes the joint tape ends up on the old texture and it just doesn't really come out that great. So I like the idea of this. I already put some in one corner, and I thought it did really good. So basically, it's a corner bead that you tape in like this. So it's essentially like an inside corner bead. Now all these products are just, some of them are a composite PVC type material with paper on them. Some have paper, I think some don't, but they are very durable. They don't feel like plastic. They feel more like paper, and I think they're super strong compared to metal even. They've got some videos where they show a hammer test where they bang into the corners of it, like right here, and it holds up better than metal.
Dropped at a standard angle at a constant speed right onto the corner. Let's try it and see how the different brands stack up. Yep, left a dent all right.
And I think it would, because I'm really convinced this is a great product. And one thing that makes it great is that these things are applied to the wall with joint compound. So that means they're stuck all the way. All of this inside surface area where you attach it to here is going to be stuck. Now with the metal corner bead, nothing sticks to the wall. You're putting this metal corner bead on the drywall and then attaching it with nails and screws or staples, and it's just not really stuck. Now I put on thousands of sticks of corner bead, and you know, that was all I knew for a long time. But I'm going to show you some pictures here and show you one reason I don't think metal corner bead is up to it. In this video here, you can see where there's mud flaking off everywhere. If I take my knife under here and just get a little bit of a bite, you can see that it really just isn't stuck well at all. I can pretty much guarantee you it's going to stick to this paper type corner bead much better. It sticks to joint tape fine, it sticks to drywall paper fine. It just doesn't like to stick to metal. Plus another disadvantage is in high humidity situations, I've seen the corner bead rust underneath the drywall mud. That's going to cause you some issues, like it may come off easier, you may get rust through it. It's just not really ideal. We've got better products now. Some of these cost a little bit more, but if it was my house I was building, I would specify nothing but products like this. So what do we got here? Okay, they got a bunch of different products. They just sent me a variety of them. I'm going to put a link to their company website. You can go check out all their different products. They got some really products like butt crack, I think it's called, or butt tape. It's great for taping butt joints, and it looks like it'd be really nice. I've yet to get to try that one. They've got all kinds of patch templates to put around your mud boxes, like some of these pictures I'm showing you here. A lot of cool products, but what we're gonna focus on today is these products. This one I'm only going to use a little bit of, because what this is, it is the OS 400, and the difference with this one versus some of these is it's wider. You see how wide it is across there compared to that one, so it would swallow it up. Now if I put these two together, I can show you, it's hard to see I'm sure on the camera, but this one stops right there, so it's about 1/2 inch wider on each side. The advantage there is sometimes your corner bead doesn't come out really square. I'm going to show you an example of where I'm going to use this. We've got a section over here where these two ceilings met and they just came out funky, and so it ended up, you can see there's some OSB in there, so I've got to span all the way over that OSB to the other side. So that's where this wide tape-on corner bead would come in. Now, here's some of the features of this that I like. This inside right here is rigid. You could bend it, but it's fairly rigid. And then this outer part right here is paper. So that's the part that sticks extra well. This all sticks, but this sticks extra well, and it's pretty thin. So by the time you tape it on, you end up with a nice square corner. There's not even a recess on these, because this corner doesn't need mud from here to here. So you're really just coating out here a little bit, and it just sticks really well. So that's what I like about this product overall, is that design. Now this one is called the OS 300, so it's like that one, but a more normal width. We're gonna use some of this on one side, and then on the other side we're going to try a different product. So that was the OS 300. Now this product is a little bit different. This is called the Big Stick. It says it right there, Big Stick 300. So this is closer to regular corner bead in that it has a rigid surface all the way across here, and it feels like it's got a little bit of a recess. So it's closer to regular metal corner bead. It still tapes on, and it's still paper faced. It's got a nice like fuzzy type texture in here. That's going to allow the mud to hang on better. Smooth things like metal and plastic, it doesn't stick to. With this fuzzy surface, it's going to stick to well. Now you put this on with all-purpose joint compound, not lightweight, because it has more glue in it, the regular green label like in this picture. So we're going to put these on here. I'm going to show you how we cut these. This one's already cut. Then the final product we're going to use is, it came off of that roll. This is what it looks like when you take it off the roll and you crease it like this. You can form a 90, or in this case we need about a 45 roughly. And you can make it whatever angle you want. So it's great for those off angles or the inside off angles, either one. Now you should read these things about how to install them right. Like this one, it says, it's printed right on here. It says, always fold the print together. On an inside corner, the print faces out. So if I was putting this in here, you would read the print. It says on the outside corner, the print faces the wall. So you basically just put the print together, and then on the outside corner here, it's going to be facing the wall. Okay, now this stuff can cut with scissors. This one is pretty easy to cut because you can flatten it out and you can cut it with a pair of scissors. But this stuff, you can cut it with scissors, but I find that it's easier to get out some tin snips, mainly for cutting that final inside corner. When you get up to here, scissors just don't want to cut that last part, but you can get a little further with these snips. They got more power, and I would recommend these. I'll put a link to all these tools and products in the description down below. Some will go to Amazon where we make a small amount. They've actually just cut our rates that we make about 50%. So that's going to make it tougher to make anything off of that, but I'll put links down there. Now I wanted to show you something about this. Like I say, this is a composite material, and it's easy to bend, it's easy to cut, it's easy to fold, but it's really tough. If you try and tear this, it's not like paper tape at all. It tears, but sometimes it's really tough to tear, and it's got kind of a plasticky feel, but it still feels like paper too. So if I pull like this, normal paper would tear. I have to get it to start ripping like that. So it's really tough stuff, but yet even with scissors, this is snips, but with anything it's really easy to cut. And so the final advantage to me is you get nice straight corners. With metal, I've put thousands of pieces on, and it's so easy to twist it a little bit. And once you nail here, and say you twist it a little bit and you nail here, and then you realize what you did and you try and correct it down below, it wrinkles. Well, because you put this on with mud, you can adjust it all day. So let's say you're putting this one on right here, and you get it on and you realize down here, and you realize that up here maybe you got it twisted a little bit like this, and oh no, what do? Well, if you had this nailed, it would wrinkle. But because it's mud, you can literally keep straightening it until it's just right, and then you've got this nice straight edge, no wrinkles, everything is stuck down. I guarantee you this is a much better product than steel corner bead or the plastic. Now that same corner rolling tool that I showed you right here in this picture, that actually works great on this too, so I need it for that reason too. You can do it without it. You can just put it on here and just press it down, but I like how that tool will actually square it up nicely for you. You just stick it on, roll it, and it's going to square it up really nice. And it presses the mud out. Then you basically just wipe it and you're done. Now if you're going to do a lot of this, like on a bigger job, I only have about 6 or 8, I'd say probably about 10, 12 sticks to do here. On a bigger job, there is a tool they have I'll show you a picture of it. And it basically, you run this stuff through it and it puts the mud on for you. So that quick, you got the mud on, put it up here, roll it, wipe it, you're done. I think it could even be faster than putting on regular CornerBead. So now what we've got here, I'm gonna show you how to cut this. This is the closet we wrapped. Anytime you're gonna put square CornerBead on, make sure that these two surfaces come close to each other and you don't hold them back. If you hold them back, it's not gonna give as much to stick to, it won't be as strong, so it's best to keep it pretty square. It can be back 1/8 of an inch or so. If it gets too far back, you need that extra wide one. Now, if you're doing bullnose, you actually hold it back about 1/2 inch on each side to allow for that roundness, or it'll rock on here. We're doing square today, so I've already stuck this on. This is that wet stick. Now, since I'm talking about this wet stick, I'm gonna tell you what I think about it. My first impression was kind of what I thought might happen. It didn't stick real well. I sprayed the water on it. I let it sit about 20 seconds or so. Put it up here, stuck it on. It seemed like it was stuck pretty good. Then I had a few areas pop loose a little bit. I kept sticking them back down and overall it stuck. But then I noticed on the back side, you'll see in this video here, that it came loose. So I'm gonna have to put some nails or screws into it and re-tack it back down. It's on the back side of a closet, shouldn't cause me any problems. But I really think if I had that corner rolling tool, it wouldn't have done that. Okay, I will admit I goofed. I looked at the instructions after I tried using it, and as you can see, I should have let it sit for about 60 seconds. So I think I didn't give it enough time for the glue to soften. So I'll try this product again in a later video. So now when you're cutting these for a corner like this, like in a window or a closet, what I like to do is cut it so it fits flush across here. And you can put a little, some people like to do this, and a lot of this comes with this little cut, like on the bottom end. You can see how it's got a little wing cut. You could do that up here. Sometimes it helps to not overlap the other one, which could kind of stack it. So you might put this little corner here. But what you're trying to do is make it fit. I'm gonna have to show you on this side. You want to make it fit underneath here and then 45 up that way, and that helps cover this little gap a little better. Oftentimes these still need tape, but it helps give you a little better coverage there. And a lot of times they'll line up really good, and it's not super critical. So on a closet like this, you're gonna cut 2 this way and then 2 the other way, because if I turn this one over here, you can see it's wrong. So cut 2 and then leave. And then what you wanna do is leave it so that this doesn't touch the floor. It's better to be about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch off the floor. Saves you problems, it fits better, it's easier to install, and it's recommended. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut these and get them ready. Okay, so sometimes when I'm cutting these, I'll take one of these and like, I know I need 2 of these, so I'm going to, these 2 together, and in this case, I want them both on the same end because I'm gonna do 2 of this type on one side and then 2 of another type on the other. So I can't cut it exactly like that. Normally you could take and trace it or just cut with your scissors or your snips. But in this case, I'm just going to cut it a little longer than that. So to cut it, you just cut all the way to that corner, and then you come around to this side and just visually cut straight over to it again. And usually you end up with that. All you do is just kind of tear it off. Now I purposely cut it a little bit long, right? You can see here. And I've already got this one cut, so I need to cut this one for here. So what you do is, you can mark it with your snips, you could just cut it, or you can go up here with a pencil. And these have these little graduated lines on them, so it kind of makes it easier to see things. It's actually measured like a tape measure, so if you wanted, you could just read out here and cut it that way. But I just go up here and mark for this to slide in here, I mark about a 1/2 inch down, just like that. And then come over and cut this side first. Okay, here's a little bit more of a close-up of how I cut that. You cut the first side straight over till it meets the middle. Then you got the second side at a 45 or something close to it, and it meets right here. It's really hard for me to do like this for you guys on camera, but there you go. And then check your fit. And it looks good. That one's ready to tape. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side with 2 others, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, to install this, it's fairly simple. You want to put a good solid layer of this all-purpose regular weight joint compound on here. You can use fast setting joint compound too, but I would be real careful. It could get out of hand. You could lose track of time. So if you do it, use 45-minute or 90. But basically you just want to put a nice, fairly thick layer on here. If you get it too thin, you're going to have those problems. That's the #1 problem that novices have with joint tape or corner bead like this stick on. You see in this first picture here, there's an obvious void. Well, that one you don't want to do. But you see down here below, this is the one that'll get most of you, because you can see the gray of the paper coming through. That means you've got it on too thin. You shouldn't be able to see any drywall coming through anywhere. So you just go through, and I like to use my 6-inch knife and just put a good solid layer on. And then I usually just wipe it down a little and kind of check and make sure you got it on thick enough. If you have any doubt, it's not really going to hurt to just put more on and wipe it back. We're going to do that this whole thing for this side. And make sure it's all the way up to here. Like I see a little bit I missed right up there. Let's get that. It's really important that you don't get any thin spots on here. That's where it won't stick so well. Put it on here and just kind of square it up. Push it a little bit. Don't push real hard. You could splay it out and it won't fit right. So just snug it up on here, square it up like this, push tight to the top. Just kind of press it all the way up and down. Make sure it's on here, basically squared up and stuck down a little bit. Now we're going to wipe it down. All right, when you wipe it down, you're mainly wanting to wipe from about 1/4 inch in this way. You don't really need to ride your knife out here. This one has no ridge right here, so I could probably get away with it, but this is where we're mainly pressing down. So don't push really hard. You don't want to push so hard that you squeeze so much of the mud out that it's not going to stick right. It's got to have a little mud under it, but don't push too lightly. If you can see in this example, I'm pushing too light, so put a decent amount of pressure on it. And sometimes with this style, it's got that paper that's loose from here. The big stick doesn't have that. You might want to just wipe that just a little bit to make sure it's all stuck down and not wrinkling like that. And I'll just give it one wipe. We'll check this side. And that's really all there is to sticking this down. Now, the next step would be to put 1 to 2 coats of mud on it. They say this takes less than normal, and I believe that's going to be true. We'll find out in this video. Okay, now to tape this flex angle, it's really similar. Just going to put our mud on. Now, if you can't put it on like I am, what I'm doing is starting like this and tilting my knife over as I go up. I've only done that about 83 million times, I think. If you can't do that, just put it on like this if you need to. Just make sure you get plenty on there. and then just lightly smooth it out. When you do that, put more pressure over here, otherwise you're gonna end up wiping it off that corner. And like I say, you don't have to really smooth it out, just knock down any really high places. It helps. Okay, we're starting from scratch on this one. So again, you always fold the paper towards itself. So fold it and then just run it through your hand like this. Be careful not to cut yourself, but I don't think that's ever happened to me, but it could. Now you're trying to match that angle a little bit. You're better off bending this so that it's a little more like this rather than like this. Because if you splay it out too much, it may be hard to get them edges to lay back down. So, yeah, see, I've got it bent quite a bit more than I need to, but we can just put it on here and press it down. Now again, with corner bead, you always want to try and not rotate it to one side or the other. One way you can tell is if you put a knife on here and it's really deep over here, you probably need to rotate it back over that way. Make sure it stays tight to the top. So I started from the bottom, that way if it did slide a little bit, it'll slide up. If you go from the top down first, it might actually pull it loose from the ceiling easier. Don't push too hard. Okay, see right there it kind of popped loose, so make sure that you go over that again and get it stuck down. Now the mud coming through those holes, it's supposed to do that. That helps it hold the tape better. It's kind of like a way to give it some tooth. It bites onto it. And usually that's going to be below what you need to coat anyway, so don't worry about trying to wipe off all those little bits of mud coming out. That's it for flex tape. All right, now we're gonna do this IS 300, which is for the inside angles. Same basic procedure. Don't grip there. How do you like this little slope right here? I'll show you a picture of it. For some reason, this addition on this house, this whole room is drooping badly. So this is level, this header is level. That angle you see in this picture, that's how bad this thing is sloping. Anyway, we've cut this one. And of course, this is for the inside angle, so it goes like this. Now I cut it so it comes up just a hair short of the corner, and then I angled it to get it off of this corner bead. Then I did a little 45 over there so it'll meet the other one. And it'll say hello and play nice. Hello, inside angle. I think I didn't have this quite in the angle there. And that's good enough for that one. Now, I'm pretty sure it says to go ahead and skim coat it. You can anyway. I usually would prefer to let it dry because that mud is going to shrink a little. So if I put some on top of it, then it's all gonna shrink. So if I let it shrink first, I can fill that void that the shrinkage caused. If I put it on now, it's just gonna shrink more, but it can help speed up the whole process. So this is how I would coat it. And I think we could do 2 sides on this. Shouldn't need to do much there. Normally when you do inside corners with paper tape, sometimes it'll tuck into the angle a little bit on one side or the other and it might not be real straight. And if you run both sides, you'll mess up this inside part almost every time. But because this is so rigid in the center, that's one of the things that I'm liking about this so far, is that it gives a nice clean inside angle, and you don't really have to get much mud at all in there because it doesn't go into the angle if you got a little bit of deepness. And yes, you could pre-fill it and solve that, but I like how that angle was tight enough, but it just came out nice and clean. Now I think I'll still have to coat this again, but we're gonna see how it looks after it dries. Okay, I wasn't able to shoot the final video, so I'm just gonna show you some photos of how things came out. And I will tell you that I'm really happy with this product, other than maybe the wet stick. Okay, here is the OS 300 after 1 coat of mud. Now you notice on the left you can see most of the corner bead showing through because it doesn't need mud on top of that section there. It came out really good after just 1 coat. And if you've ever seen or used this style of corner bead, I did a demonstration on another job where on the right it's that style and you can see how much it shrunk in there, and on the left was the Strait Flex bead, and you can see that it had barely any shrinkage. Plus that old style with the metal, it's not going to stick near as well because you're using mud to stick metal to drywall. Here's how that Strait Flex original came out on the 45. As you can see, it came out great too. And here's a door jamb. You can see it filled out nice and flat. And here's the overall closet. And notice the nice straight lines on everything. And then here's the closet after it's been textured, nice and flat. Here's that angle I taped. And then I textured it, and you can see too that it came out straight, but the texture matched. That's a video I'm going to do later about how to match and blend a knockdown texture. Hey, I hope that helped you out, and if you like these kind of videos, be sure and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on the video, comment, share, you know, all those things that helps us put out more videos for you. And as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I look forward to helping you on the next video. Thanks a lot.